Friends and comrades, I am happy to bring another video to you after a brief interregnum, again for unavoidable reasons, and that is on the much awaited event of G20 Summit taking place on 9th and 10th September. There are lots of discussions in India, of course across the world, about what will transpire in the G20 Summit, and more important, what might come out in the form of communiques and joint declarations, etc. First, let us look at what could India make out of this 1 year of exercise in organizing G20 meetings and the final summit this weekend. India would have the opportunity to showcase its cultural heritage, which government is doing rigorously, and it can perhaps claim to be the voice of Global South as it hosts the G20 Summit and uses its headship to give out certain messages. India has been aspiring to be the voice of the developing countries since the days of Nehru, our first Prime Minister, in non-aligned movement starting in 1960s. Now of late, the developing countries are known as Global South, and our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is wanting to represent the Global South. He has commendably managed to invite the African Union to G20 as a permanent member. New Delhi has raised certain global issues like climate change, infrastructure development, and restructuring of the multilateral banks to enable them to enhance their capability for financing, to boost prosperity in developing countries, and to deal with issues like climate crisis across the world. There are interestingly some red herrings around the G20 summit as well, and some internal debates, I would say mild controversies on a couple of things. But the red herring is really the absence of two leaders. One is Vladimir Putin, the Russian strongman. Although his non-attendance was expected as he is trying to evade the arrest warrant issued by International Criminal Court, so he is hardly starring out of his country. Yet his absence will be noted in New Delhi. We all know that Soviet Union has been a reliable partner of India and its big successor Russia, although there are now new developments in terms of Russia nudging up to China for various reasons. The second red herring is the absence of the Chinese President Xi Jinping, which is really a mystery because it has not been explained why he is not attending. There are several theories doing the rounds for his refusal to come to New Delhi. He has been attending almost all the G20 summits, so why not in Delhi? But what is crystal clear is that Xi Jinping has delivered a big snub to India by not attending. Many observers note that China has been envious of India's rise as a regional power, and it might pull all stops to prevent New Delhi from soaring high in the regional politics. That has to be seen, the impact of his non-attendance, how it has been strategized by Beijing will have to be seen in coming days. It was expected that India-China relation might experience a thaw following a brief meeting between the two leaders in Johannesburg, but that was not to be. So that's quite an aggressive posturing by China, not a sign or symbol of normalization of relations. So Modi meets Biden in a bilateral summit during the G20. Many things will come up. As we see in the public domain, the agenda has been set for Modi and Biden meeting. So Modi should not lose this opportunity of impressing upon Biden that US should have a consistent policy vis-a-vis India-China rivalry, and Modi should secure an assurance from Biden that in a case of any eventuality of a military confrontation, India should be able to pick the desired weapons from American arsenal. At the same time, Modi should be open and willing to be a part of broader strategic alliance along with the US, something like a NATO plus membership. Given the asymmetry of military and economy between China and India, strategic alliance for India is indispensable in dealing with China, and America, given the confluence of interest of India and United States, America is a potential and obvious ally in this region vis-a-vis China. So G20 should offer this strategic dividend in terms of Modi and Biden meeting. We should not harbor any longer any illusion about Russia holding China back against India. Russia is in a very tight spot. Its foreign policy is really mixed up. It has to lean on China to contain America and its allies. Ukraine war again is continuing, unfortunately causing horrendous consequences for the entire world. Putin is in the thick of it all as the main aggressor. So India also has to walk a tightrope in drafting a statement to Ukraine war. Although Ukraine war is not part of the G20 agenda, but the consequences of the war certainly has a bearing on the G20 deliberations in terms of crippling the economies and rising the cost of food and fertilizer, etc. So in that sense, the Ukraine war is connected to the G20 objectives. So that said, G20 is an opportunity for India to showcase its leadership potential in the developing world and stitching necessary and relevant alliance with countries in dealing with ever belligerent Beijing on our borders. Thank you. I look forward to your helpful reactions to some of these formulations around G20.